morning and welcome to Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. I am Kengbe Bodari.
And I am Henry Ikwipike.
All right, it's the start of a new day and we are glad to have you on the show today. We will kick off with today's newspaper review before diving into the main conversation of the day. Trust me, you don't want to miss a moment with us. You can join the conversation by dropping your comments, liking, and following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Now, joining us to share the matters at hand is Greatness Agadaigo. Is a barrister and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, and always a pleasure to be here with you.
Time every single moment we call up on you.
Yeah.
So I would love us to start with the Guardian newspaper for today. We have the big story: more music, less manifesto. How praise singers override party agenda. A scorecard at rallies. You remember the great good song by Yes and Wike and Yendeba and Yendeba. So that's basically what they're talking about, actually.
Seriously. Okay, on the top strip we have NBA SPIDEL. Police agree to review tinted permit policy.
Yes, and also we have other interesting matters here. Peter Obi, Wike trade words over 2027 presidency capacity to lead.
Below that, we have heavy reliance on oil. Domestic debt exposed Nigeria to financial risk. IMF warns.
And also below that story, Nigerian Medical Association says Kano fit for trial as Ohaneze Group advocates a dialogue.
We also have defections, legal disputes, rock PDP as APC governors project strengthen unity in Kebbi.
And also interestingly, today, Day is World Food Day.
Hey.
As federal government taxed on support for local farmers' equitable distribution. Today is World Food Day for World Food Day. But interestingly, Nigerians, I do not know if we have no food.
We are talking about enough food. Okay, it's part of it, but I think being that today is World Food Day, we should have free food now.
Yes.
They should just, what's your menu? What do you want?
All right. So I would love us to start with this story, barrister. World Food Day. Federal government taxed on support for local farmers' equitable distribution. Why is it that the federal government seeks to be advising? It looks to me like they are advising some other persons that should have been them doing the job of providing food and opportunities for Nigerians. What's your take, barrister?
First of all, let me say congratulations to the world and Nigerians for World Food Day. And we hope that the objectives of these anniversaries will be realized, which is actually for all nations of the world to work diligently to ensure food productivity and food security in all nations of the world. And to inevitably, and by doing that, we'll be invariably banishing all our lands. So I just want to congratulate us. But putting the question where it should be, what we expect government to do is not only to congratulate farmers and to charge them to ensure high food yields, but the government ought to make commitments, number one, that they will ensure security in all farms in Nigeria, because that is one of the number one factor. In fact, the greatest factor to food shortages in Nigeria is lack of accessibility to farms by farmers because of the activities of Boko Haram, bandits, and even local thieves and criminals, as well as killer herdsmen, farmlands across the length and breadth of Nigeria. and made it impossible for farmers to be able to access their land and engage in food productivity. We are all aware that many farmers, they pay homage, they pay ransom, they pay fees to be able to access their farm to engage in harvest. Those are recurring tales that have not been able to be brought to an end by our security agency even up till now. So I hope that what I want to see the government do is to, number one, pledge that there will be security in all farmlands in Nigeria, especially the food belt of the nation, which is the middle belt, Plateau, Benue, and that entire the region. Secondly, I also expect from the federal government to declare a state of emergency in food production by heavily investing in agricultural inputs, agricultural seedlings, machineries for farming, fertilizers, and other associated devices and farming structures that will make our food production to be extremely to be multiplied beyond our expectations, so that we can experience a bumper harvest in food production, and this in turn will sharply and drastically bring down food prices all over Nigeria. Because you know what government has been doing in recent time is to be opening the borders, engaging in importation of rice, crashing the market, flooding the market with a lot of imported food products, with the intention, you know, economics, the higher the supply, the lower the price. So they have been applying that economic measure to bring down the price. But of course, you know as well as I do that that measure is not sustainable. Yeah. The sustainable measure is homegrown economic policies. Invest heavily in our agricultural sector, and I will recommend that we devote at least 10% of our annual budget of the soon to be proposed budget 2026. 10% of that budget should be allocated to the agricultural sector to enhance high food yield and low food prices. Because high food yield will invariably lead to low food prices. So these are what we expect the federal government to do to assure us that they will deal with security, and they will declare state of emergency in agricultural sector by heavy investment, by making radical, extraordinary investments in the agricultural sector that will boost high food yield. So these are the statements we want to hear from government, and not carrying the onus and the burden, turning it on the farmers who cannot access their farm, some of them are bankrupt because they invested heavily in farming, and yet they cannot access their farm to harvest the food. So many of them, they are bankrupt, many of them are in poverty, many of them are in affliction, many of them are in agony. They have lost their crops, they have lost their money, they have lost their lives and livelihood. So these are what we want the federal government to do and to commit itself to do in a day such as this, which is international / global food day.
Thank you.
So that will be omission on that score.
All right.
Okay, thank you. But while we are waiting on the federal government statement of putting our agricultural sector together and also looking into security, right? Now let's bring it down to the youth. What role can youth play in boosting local food production?
Well, you know, we always say that a hungry man is an angry man.
Yes.
A hungry man is an angry man. And now, out of the three most fundamental needs of the human being, the number one in the hierarchy is food. Food, that's number one. So, and of course, we have so many opportunities, employment opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities in our agricultural sector that has remained largely unutilized. So I want the youth to key into the agricultural sector. You know, many a times we want to start big, but things do not always work out that way. Start small. It may just be a small farm. It may be manual farming and the rest. But as you put your heart into it, cassava farming, maize farming, plantain farming, you know, cassava farming now has become a very big business because a lot of it is used in the industries to produce chemicals, various kinds of chemicals. While it's simply a small portion that is used to produce starch, gari, and other staple foods for Nigeria. So that holds the key. Granite farming and other kinds of fishing, pond fishing, chicken, poultry, and other things. So an idle man is the devil's workshop. And one of the negative aspects of our high unemployment rate in Nigeria is that many of our idle youth are being used into internet fraudster, which is called Yahoo. They are being deployed into kidnapping and other negative tendencies and vices. So we need them to put their youthful energy into agriculture, you know, and feed the nation. You know, in 1979, Obasanjo declared Green Revolution, if you remember. Yeah. And the intent of that Green Revolution was Operation Feed the Nation. I'm sure you remember. I'm sure you were born then. You were born then. So you, by 1978, 79, you were born then. So we need the youth now to who are the leaders of tomorrow. You know, there has been an ongoing debate whether the youth as we see them today from ages 17, 18 to 35, are they viable leaders of tomorrow? Can they take over the old stock? So we need the youth to prove to us, their elder brothers and their elder sisters, that they will indeed be trustworthy stewards of tomorrow by launching into this very critical and delicate agricultural sector to enter an operation to feed the nation, to crash food prices, to make food prices as low as possible so that every average family can have at least 2 square meals a day. Because as it is now, even people who are average, they cannot hardly have 2 square meals a day, not even 3. The standard has changed. So they need to launch into this operation, feed the nation of the now, and enhance high food yield so that our nation can be self-reliant and we can have food security through the investment of both physical and material of our teeming youth population.
Very well said, Barrister. Now, let's take a look at other matters. The big story here: more music, less manifesto. How praise singing override the party agenda. Scorecard rallies, and there's a cartoon flick there of people in the background of a politician there singing "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand," Enyendeba, Enyendeba, which of course was made known by Nyesom Wike, and most current of them all. You know, there's this young man in Edo State who is often singing "Edo is Shining," the governor where they enter Gota, and so many other very ridiculous statements by people. I'd love you to take what you make of all of this shenanigans happening within the corridor of power, especially with regards to praise singing for Nigerian politicians.
I just want the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to know that his best friends, and by his best friend, I mean those who wish him well, those who intently and earnestly desire that he succeeds in his first term in office, are those who constructively criticize him perpetually. They are his best friends, and those are the best friends you can have, because they will continue to tell you the truth that you may not wish to hear, and the truths which are often very scarce for those in corridor of power. And that is why people like us have elected to use this medium and any other medium to become public affairs analysts, to say it as it is, hoping that somehow the government will hear and do the right thing timeously. But for sycophants and for, hypocrisy and sycophancy, they go together. They are birds of the same feathers, and they fly together. And those, the Bible, if I go spiritual, the Bible says those who patronize jesters, the king jesters, hypocrites, and sycophants are fools who are doomed to be destroyed. Because if you follow, even when they see that there is a problem ahead, there's going to be destruction ahead, they will praise you and say all is well, all is well, and before you know, you will enter a ditch, you will enter an ambush, and you will find yourself in a very, very embarrassing and disgraceful situation. So I want to really implore this government not to suffer fools lightly, to put sycophants behind them. Because if his vision for Nigeria, which is making Nigeria better than he found it, better than Nigeria was before he took over the reins of authority in May 29th, 2023, then he must have proper counsel. He must heed wise advice. And I expect that he will have an inner caucus made up of a crack team who will think outside the box. He will have a well-structured, independent advisors outside government circles who periodically he meets with and who tells the federal government, the president, and the president, who tells him the true state of affairs, who tells him the real yearnings of Nigeria, who tells him whatever these jesters are saying now, what is really the status, what is really the status in terms of employment, what is the status in terms of infrastructure, such as roads around Nigeria, what is the status, what is the average lifestyle of the average Nigerian? What is the perception? Because we say perception is reality. A lot of people will say, Nigerians are satisfied. Jesters and psychopaths will tell him, Nigerians are satisfied with you, carry, go. You already have 95% of the support of Nigerians. But he needs to have these independent counselors who are not government officials, who will tell him that this is what Nigeria actually, rightly or wrongly, this is their perception of your government from 2023 till date. So I expect the president, he was 8 years governor of Lagos State, and he has been a politician since 1993. So I expect him to be very experienced, to know even when people are, you know what they say, are just using his head, are just playing on his intelligence. I expect him to know and to be able to filter the wheat from the chaff and listen. Even somebody like Sowore, who appears to be one of the most vocal critics of this present administration. If you listen to Sowore, you will get a lot of guides in order to know areas you need to attend to, such as rule of law, such as respect for human rights, such as urgent need to reform the Nigerian judiciary, urgent need to reform the Nigerian police and immigration, urgent need to ensure law and order, urgent need for public officials at all levels to be restrained from misuse and abuse of the public trust that has been handed over to them, urgent need to ensure that our public utilities, our public infrastructure, our public services function optimally to the satisfaction of majority of Nigerians. Urgent need of ensuring that, for example, now, one of the things Sowore has been pursuing, that police officers who retire get their pension as at when due through proper channels and platforms. So he has a lot to learn, to take. He has a lot of takeaways from so-called critics, but he should put jesters, court jesters, Asorok jesters, Asorok sycophants far away from his hearing, so that he can see clearly and chart the desired course for Nigeria's greatness.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So what does the dominance of praise singing at rallies reveal about political communication strategies in Nigeria?
Well, you know, many a times they use it, yeah, like I said, you know, perception is reality. That's what I've said.
Yeah.
So, and at times it appears that it is the loudest voice that is heard. And when the loudest voice is heard,
Yeah.
that becomes, or that appears to be the true narrative of the state of affairs. And it's a way of, you know, many a times, if you, in political circles, if you are in class 1 and you admit that you have failed, then it means that you have also denied yourself promotion to class 2. So it is also a way of living in denial of your performance. And that's what they do in the rallies. Or usually, the rallies are supposed to be forums for critical appraisals of performance, the journey so far, how far. And of course, in assessing any public officer how he has performed, you must put the promises he has made vis-a-vis how far those promises has been fulfilled. So if those rallies were proper intellectual engagement, the first thing they will rail out, in 2023, when the current administration was seeking office, these were the promises, it will lay out the promises it made to Nigerians. Then after railing out those promises, then sector by sector, you say, in communication, information and communication, this is how we are fed. In road development, road rehabilitation, this is how it was and this is how we are fed. In the economy, when we came, the naira to the dollar was 400, and now a naira to the dollar is better. So, and before we came, the unemployment rate was about 40%, but now we have improved it. So you see, so that will now be the basis for giving accolades to the government in power. But you will see that in rallies, statistics are put behind bars. They are chained. They don't read out statistics. They just praise the public official with no foundation, with nothing to rely on, no from when to when, no sectoral analysis, no previous how it was and where we were before and where we are now. Those kinds of analysis are usually put behind, and it's all, oh, he has done well, he has done well, he has done well. That's all we hear in rallies. It's just like more like cheerleaders, you know, cheerleaders in a basketball game, football game, because they just cheer the same cheer with no critical intellectual context to the accolades that are pronounced and that are donated. So that is why for any serious-minded public official who is thinking of contesting for a second term, you must look beyond political rallies for to realize your re-election ambitions. Because it is usually all your party people who are not right, who will not criticize you that are there. But you must look at the larger part. And these political party members that are gathered in rallies, they are less than 1%. They are less than 1% of the total population of Nigeria, of 220 million Nigerians. So what they say, what the praise singing as in terms of the numbers for the real election is very insignificant.
All right.
It is the larger population who may not even belong to any political party that will really determine whether the elected official gets a re-election or not. And so any public official must go beyond public rallies to really reach out, must go beyond public. I must emphasize this, that any public officer, any public official who is desirous of winning a second term must go beyond his political party's public rallies to reach out to the larger population of the states to win their confidence and win their support and win their votes to enhance his re-election bid. This is extremely necessary.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Barrister. I think we have to leave it for now, and just to let you know, the Barrister will be here to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return. New INEC Chair Amupitan vows a credible polls, promises technology upgrade in the Be It a Still Enterprise Friday. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.